Suppose that in the diagram at right, the areas of regions 1, 2, and 3 are 4, 10, and 7 respectively. Evaluate each of these integrals. The integral from 0 to a of f of x dx, that is area 1, which they told us is 4. Okay. The integral from a to b of f of x dx, that's area 2. So what happens at area 2 is all below the x-axis, so that should be negative 10. And the integral from 0 to c, to go all the way from 0 to c. So I need to add these up. 1 minus 2 plus 3. So I'm going to have 4 minus 10, because that area is below the x-axis, plus 7. So 4 minus 10 is negative 6, plus 7 is 1. And then the integral from c to a, that is the opposite of the integral from a to c. So I'm going to integrate from a to c. That's from here to here. So that is the opposite of area 2 plus area 3. So I'm doing this a to c first. The integral from a to c of f of x dx. That's going to be negative 10 plus 7, which is negative 3. And so the integral from c to a is the opposite of that, negative 3, which is 3. Figure out what each of the following definite integrals represents. Remember that an integral of f prime of t dt is the product of the t units and the f prime units. Okay, so the function v of t gives the upward velocity in kilometers per second of a rocket t seconds after it was launched. So my units on v of t are kilometers per second. The units on dt are seconds. So my units on the integral will be kilometers. So this is the number of kilometers that the rocket traveled from launch to 120 seconds. The kilometers traveled by the rocket from launch to 120 seconds. Okay, this time A of t is the rate in thousands of antibodies per minute. So thousands antibodies per minute. dt is minutes, so my units will cancel and I get thousands of antibodies. And I'm integrating from 0 to 4, so that's from the time the foreign substance is introduced to 4 minutes later. So from introduction to 4 minutes later, the integral from 0 to 4 of a of t dt represents the number of antibodies produced in thousands. Okay, function r of t gives the rate in millions of dollars per year at which a country's debt is increasing. So 1980 to 1990, so my debt increases by millions of dollars per year. My dt units are years. So my units is millions of dollars. And when I interpret this, it's going to say that the debt from 1980 to 1990 increased by millions of dollars. So this represents the amount of debt increase from 1980 to 1990 in millions of dollars.